We got,
Ooh.
we got Bonnie's girl, Taylor.
Hopefully there's some Taylor Swift fans in here.
I feel like every time that me and you do one of these together, it's like Dolly Parton, Taylor Swift, like Whitney Houston. It's all our ladies.
I know, you gotta love the gals. But Scott brings in a good couple of classics, which are always nice.
Yeah, he brought in a classic Stevie Wonder, but I really did enjoy Doug's Disney music. I really actually could like live with that background music going while I'm working. It's so good.
Felt transported to Disney.
I know.
Or I guess I should say unnamed theme park if we want to be
copyrighted.
Safe. Yep.
But family travel, magical vacation.
Yes. And that is crazy. Today has flown by, but hello everybody. Good afternoon, Jennifer and everyone else who's joining. Good morning to some of you. Maybe.
Ooh, from the magical Orlando Kingdom. There it is.
Oh, see? Perfect.
Orlando magic. Perfect.
Got
Montana.
It.
On my bucket list. Montana. So awesome. Yeah, good afternoon. We've made it to the afternoon. These days are so fast. It's kind of insane. It is so insane. Wait a minute. One thing did I see? Oh, London, Ontario, Canada. I was like, oh my God, London. I have
London.
I was like,
so glad to have everybody.
So cool. Okay, so I'll jump in here because Bonnie, I know you got lots to share. I'm just going to let Taylor kind of fade out in here as I go through this. But so we're gathered here today for Bonnie's Staying Organized and Managing Clients with Travefy CRM. So exciting. So really, really cool. Okay. So for everybody, you've probably heard this many times, but we cannot stress this enough on here. It is a couple of things that we just want to go through is one, certification. So this week you can actually become Travefy Training Camp certified. It's almost a mouthful there, but it's really cool because it's a way to show that you know your stuff, you know? And so here's how this works. So basically, if you attend 5 or more of these sessions, like this one right now, you already got 1 credit. I'm sure most of you have many more. Many of you probably already are technically certified by attending 5. But also you can also watch the recording. So you just have to watch that by March 20th. The whole day. So you have the whole day there. So basically it's giving you the weekend. So you can watch the recordings and we actually see it. We can see when you attend these, we can see when you watch them. So don't worry if you're ever like, do they know I was there? It's kind of creepy, but we do because of Zoom registration. It's Zoom registration. I always want to preface
just
that.
creeping everything.
I know. It always seems super creepy. Like we know you're there. But it really is just because of the Zoom registration. So if you have to type in your name to go watch something, we're capturing it. So that's a good thing. So, but if you do become certified by the end of next week, so by next Friday, you'll receive a certificate and then also some badges. So you can put those like on your email signature, your website with Travefy maybe. Could do that. All those cool things. And again, it's just a way to show like, you know, your clients like, what I'm using to build your itineraries, I know what I'm doing here. So it's really cool. So really awesome there. Another note that I want to point out is that these only count towards sessions like this, where they're like full length Zoom webinar, 1 hour. So those Facebook Lives and unfortunately the happy hour that I'll talk about does not count towards that. But you have many opportunities. So there's a lot of opportunities there. And then watching those recordings, everything, including the recordings, information about certification, it's all going to be at trainingcamp.travefy.com. So literally that's going to be your number 1 spot for everything. So just go there. You'll find everything you need in there. Okay, so the second thing though that I want to talk about is we've already been talking about this, but all of these are being recorded. So they're being recorded so you can go back and watch them, get certified. But the really nice thing is if you have to hop off early, you actually can go and watch this like right after we're done. It does take like 15 minutes for Zoom to render it, but you can actually go to that website, the trainingcamp.travefy.com, watch these, they'll be right there. So they're up very fast, which is cool. The other thing that I want to point out is I mentioned this about our Facebook Live. So we started a new thing this year. So again, if you haven't joined us before, it's our third year, which is crazy. And it's our favorite week of the whole year. But a lot of the times users were asking for more advanced sessions, or, there's just so much to go through that we wanted to find ways to go deeper into certain things. So that's where we came up with the Encore bonus sessions, which there'll be one more left, which is going to be right after this. So when Bonnie wraps up, Scott's getting in, and he's going to be doing 10 tips to maximize your Travefy library. And that will just be on our main Facebook page. So there was some confusion about, about going into our official Facebook group, but it's actually just the page. So just go to facebook.com/Travefy. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. And if you go onto our website, you can go in and find it there, but it'll be at 4 p.m. Central. So in an hour. A little under an hour, you will find that there. And then you can watch the previous sessions on Facebook as well. Okay, so last thing is Travel Trivia Happy Hour. It's the time where Bonnie and I get so pumped. It's gonna be awesome. It's how we wrap everything up from this whole week. Basically, just join us tomorrow, which is crazy. It's tomorrow at 4 p.m. Central. So almost this time tomorrow, just about. And we'll have travel trivia related questions. Bonnie put together a lot of them. Are they a good mix of hard and easy?
I would say yes, they are a pretty good mix. If you want the hint on one of them, you might want to brush up on your train knowledge from different countries.
Okay.
That's the one I really love that remember.
Hint. Oh, all right. She's never given a hint before on a webinar, so you guys should write that down. That's pretty good. That's a good one. Okay. I have to remember that one, but definitely join us for that because you can win prizes too. So pretty great stuff there. And you can, of course, register to join that at trainingcamp.travefy.com as well. And then before, just because I might forget to do this at the end, I do want to explain the next session coming up, which is technically Scott's Facebook Live, but the next larger session is tomorrow, I believe 10 a.m. Central. Don't quote me on that. Just go look on trainingcamp.travefy.com to double check. I think it is though.
It is.
But is it? Okay, perfect. Okay. Yeah. Cause we start early tomorrow. We have so much stuff. So creating a great client experience before, during, and after a trip. I'm super pumped for this one. Bonnie's leading it. It's going to be so good. I'm excited. It'll be really good.
Fun one.
I know. I can't wait. So Bonnie gets to do a little back-to-back session here, which is really cool. But okay, so that's everything I have. The one last thing that I'll mention is for Q&A. So in the Q&A, we have a good pal, Jonathan, back there as well, and I'll be helping too in the Q&A. So if you can, try to use that Q&A panel. It's a little easier for us to manage, and we can try to answer questions. And then hopefully Bonnie will have time at the end for questions as well. But yeah, we'll try to get to as much as we can. So bear with us. But with that being said, Bonnie, I'll let you take it away.
All right. Well, thank you, Stephanie. And yes, let me go ahead, share my screen. And we are just going to hop right on into it. But today we are going through basically Travefy CRM, some of the tools behind it, and making sure you're managing all of your clients, saving yourself some time, saving your clients some time, and hopefully just making for a relaxing work day, because every agent that I talk to, you guys work past 8 hours most days and do not take enough time off for yourselves. So with that being said, this one goes out to all of you. And now the first place that I am going to start out with today is actually contacts. And some of the things I bring up might seem familiar from just some of our other webinars, but we're going to go a little bit more in depth with this session. And so one of the things that I like to point out is the contacts area. Think of it as your online address book. This is where you can record all of your client contact details, your personal notes about clients, anything like that, and managing forms, documents, trips, you name it. And so we're on our contacts page. You can get there by just clicking contacts at the top left. And now there are two ways to get contacts in here. One, you can use the import function. So if I select import contacts, we get this little pop-up window. And so this is really handy if you use something like an email software system where you can export your contacts from there, and you can easily import it in here. The only thing you have to make sure of is it needs to be in this lineup. So it needs to be last name as a column, first name as a column, email, phone, address. And then if I slide this bar on over, you'll see where we have labels and custom field values. These are all optional fields. Oops, highlighted too much. But this area right here is all optional, but it can save you some time. The only thing that I would recommend, and we'll be going through this a bit more as we go on too, is have your custom field values already created before you try importing your contacts list. If you are including custom field values on the import spreadsheet. Now, that sounds like a lot, but to break it down even easier, we do provide a template file as well. So if it's easier for you to just download the file, input the information like so, you can just upload it right in here and confirm an import, and they'll all populate over, which is super handy. Now, I'm going to exit out of here. Again, you can always click into import contacts over on this side, but today we're just going to go through it manually and kind of see the workflow behind it. And so I'm going to select new contact at the left. Oh, let's do that. And it opens up what I like to think of as a blank template that we just start to fill out. And now I'm not sure about anyone else. Sometimes it's easier if we put this into a story. So story time with Bonnie, we are going to set it up as, someone on Facebook saw a cruise that I'm promoting. Maybe I do just one big annual cruise a year. And so let's just start to fill out the information in this contact, kind of acting like they're a warm lead or someone we haven't sold to before. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to put in a name. So right here, and hopefully you can see that, I'll zoom in really quick. There's a little pencil icon. This is how we can input the name. So I'm putting that name in, and I'm just going to start typing in the name. This happens to be Stephanie, Travefy. Stephanie, I'm putting you in my story. We're check marking this. No idea who this lady is, but she wants to go on a cruise, so I'm happy. Now, I'm going to start off just from top to bottom. First of all, we have tasks. This was probably our newest big feature that we did last year in the fall. And so I always like to make sure whenever someone new reaches out to me that I send an intake form. Maybe you have your own similar steps that you like to do with new people. And so I'm going to make sure I click into type to add a task. And I'll make sure to say send intake form. Now there are two options to put in somewhat like a due date. You can just go ahead, select this little calendar button. I'm going to zoom in and you can select your due date. Otherwise, for me, I'm someone who loves to add a lot of notes and description. So I'm going to actually select these arrows, and that expands the details open for me to include even more information. So I'm going to click that. And I am going to start filling it out. Again, working your way from top to bottom is super helpful when just going through Travefy in general. So due date, let's have that be by the 17th, which is Friday. I'm going to put in a time. And by inputting a time and clicking enter, I get this little remind me toggle, which that means it's going to email me a notification saying you have this stuff to do on March 17th. I also, since I have Travefy Pro downloaded and I have my push notifications turned on, I'll get a little push notification at the beginning of the day saying, here's all what you have to get done today, and I can go about my day. But again, we just put in a due date, we put in a time, I selected remind me on here. I can go ahead and I can put some notes in as well. So I might say, if I can click into it, Stephanie is really interested in a cruise, ! And done. And now it lives on here. So if I do get it done before the 17th, I can just select that and show that I got it done, and it will take it off of her contact. But moving on, we'll talk a little bit more about task as we can continue throughout this webinar. But next is description area. This is totally up to you and what you want to put in here. So just put what makes sense for you. But I usually say just quick notes, something that you don't have to dig through their contact a whole lot to find. So for me, I'm going to say interested in annual cruise, never sold to before. And I'm going to click that check mark. And now the next area, this is probably the most straightforward area there is on the contact. It's that phone, email, and address area, just contact information. And so if I click add, we can go ahead, choose our options, and start filling it out. One thing some people do not realize is you can actually put multiple of these. So if Stephanie here has 2 email addresses I want to record, I can do that. Same thing for phone and address. Today, we're going to keep it easy. We'll stick to one. So I'm going to select email, and let's just start typing in an email, save. Let's do a phone number super quick as well. Making it up. And last of all, street address. The nice thing about street address, though, is that usually these search results come from Google, so I don't have to type out the entire thing. So I'm just going to start to type in 1700. And as you can see, we already have some suggestions. So I'm just going to go with this first one. Fingers crossed, it's not anyone's actual address who is in here today. So I'm just going to save that, and we're going to keep moving along. But again, we just got done with task description. We just got done filling out our contact details. Next, we have some custom fields and labels. And I love to spend a little bit more time on this because it needs a little bit of love. So to explain what custom fields are, they are custom to you as an agent. You can create whatever you want for a custom field. But to give you some examples of what that is, it's basically a category of item that you collect information about with your client that you might want to record. So a custom field example could be something like allergies. If you collect anniversaries, you can have an anniversary custom field, a birthday custom field. Again, whatever you want it to be that makes sense for your workflow. And so I'm going to select add. Now for me, I already have allergies and anniversary as a custom field in my account, but maybe I want to collect birthday. So I'm going to select manage custom fields, and we're just going to walk through creating one together. So I'll do that. We get our little pop-up window here. This can allow me to edit the name of a custom field that I already have in here. I can also archive some if I decide, you know what, I no longer collect information about this. But for us today, let's select add another field right here. And we can just start typing it out. So I'm going to say birthday. And I'm going to do, instead of a short text, I'm going to select date. And I'm going to click that check mark to save it in our custom fields area. Now I'm going to select done editing. And now it's a custom field that I can go ahead and record for my contacts. I don't have to do that every time I create a contact, thankfully. So now let's go here. Let's pretend for whatever reason, Stephanie had reached out again on Facebook and she let me know her birthday. Don't know why she shared that with me, but fine with me. I collect birthday information anyway. So I'm going to type in birthday. Here's that custom field we just added. And now I can input whatever her birthday is. Now, Stephanie, forgive me. I'm not sure what your birthday is, so I'm just going to throw in a random one. We'll do June.
It almost
1st.
is that. It's June 23rd, so it's very close. Sorry,
It.
I can do June.
June 1st will be your birthday here, and I am just going to do 1990.
That's correct.
Oh my gosh,
you nailed it.
See, there we go. We almost got it. But June 1st, 1990 for her. But now what I might do, since she told me her birthday, I want to make sure she feels, special on her big day. So I'm going to go back up to task, and I'm going to make sure I put a little reminder that I send her a birthday message. So we're going to do that. We're going to say send birthday message, expand those details on open. And what did I say? June 1st. And we'll do this by 8 a.m. Again, by clicking enter, that remind me toggle gets turned on. So I'm going to switch it over and select done. So now June 1st is quite a ways away. I don't have to remember her birthday. I will get that reminder now. And I just look like a really caring agent, which hopefully I am. But continuing on, custom fields, super handy. Again, you can make whatever ones you want. The next piece to this is labels. Now, labels is huge for those of us who are really into organizing, which most travel agents are. So labels, one thing that I like to think of it as is kind of like a folder, if you will, where I can group together contacts. And so for Stephanie here, I might put her in a cruise group. Maybe it's Cruise 2023 is the name of the vacation group, whatever you want to name it. So we'll do Cruise 2023. We can create an ad, so that's what I'm going to do. That creates the label. It becomes green. The label shows up over here, and gave it just a moment, and it shows one person in this label or group. Maybe Jane Doe over here also has expressed interest in being on this cruise. So I can do the same thing for her. I can start to type it in, or as you can see, it already pops up, and I can stick her in the Cruise 2023 group. So now where this comes in handy is if I need to do a general head count just to see how many people are interested, maybe I was given 20 staterooms that I need to sell, and I just want to get, again, a head count of people who are interested. I can go over here, select whichever group I need to, and those contacts will show up, and I can just kind of work my way down the list, call, email, message, and kind of see where people are at in that selling process. But again, labels are super handy. You can put multiple labels on a contact. One label that I always recommend for people to create in general is, you'll see here, a warm lead label. That way, for people like Stephanie who are reaching out, travel is crazy busy, which is great, but sometimes it's hard to manage all of your incoming clients along with your current ones. So by making a warm lead label, now maybe I take 20 minutes out of my day every day to go through that list. I can see, okay, I last reached out to Stephanie a month ago. I need to follow up with her, making sure those leads don't slip through the cracks, and you can make as much money as you can off of your sales. But again, as many labels as you want, make whatever label title you want as well, but it really helps for the long run with organizing. But moving on, we are going to move over to these areas on a contact. We have notes, trips, forms, and documents. Now, notes, pretty straightforward. These are all internal facing notes, so you can put whatever you want. It really is a light CRM in that sense, because we can do things, such as call notes. I can click these three dots right here. I could do bullet points. I can highlight things. I could put a table in here if I wanted to. So a lot of different options in how I want to lay out some of these things. So maybe, I'll say Stephanie wants to go on the cruise and book a suite. We'll do another bullet point, never cruised in her life, LOL. She's not going to see this. These are all internal. So I can do whatever I want in here. And the other great thing is that it will record the date. So if it's been, 2 weeks logged in, maybe I was on vacation for 2 weeks, who knows? I can see, oh yeah, 2 weeks ago, looks like I did some call notes. That's when I must have last called her, and just continue on with my selling process. But moving on, we've got trips. Trips is an automated area is what I like to term it as, because here's the great thing. If I go to my trip list, email, one of my cruise itineraries to Stephanie@Travefy.com, our system reads, oh, that email's in on a contact for Stephanie. It's automatically going to put that trip in here. And so you don't have to do anything manually. It just records that for you, which is super handy. Just to show you real quick what it would look like. Jane Doe here, I've sent Jane Doe a trip. Her trip shows up right here, showing approved. This is also where you can find trip feedback if you have that feature turned on, and see the rating and comment that your client left you. But going back here, again, automated area. Once you email a trip to this person, it shows up in here. We're going to skip forms for right now. We'll get to that soon enough. The next area is documents. This is a handy place just to upload any documents you would need for a contact. For me personally, my computer is an absolute mess. So if you are the same way, you can easily just upload the documents you need to the specific contact. That way, if they are on their trip and they say, hey, I need my e-confirmation ticket, can't find it for whatever reason in my emails, can you send it to me again? You can just easily open Travefy up, search your contact's name, find that document area, and then just download and send. For me, maybe I'll select this e-confirmation PDF, and I can easily put it there. And here you can see where I can choose to download it again to send it out. So super nice area. You can put as many documents as you want in here. But now here's where we're going to switch it up just a little bit. We are going to go to forms. And now forms is also what we like to call an automated area, where if we email a form to this email, Stephanie@Travefy.com, we email it to her, system reads, oh, this is a contact. We're going to put that form in here so we can check the status of everything. We can see if this person has viewed the form, opened the form. If they submitted a form response, this is where we can also find responses. And so it connects in very many ways. So let's hop over to forms. Hopefully you're sticking with me, but of course we will have time for questions at the end as well. But now I'm going to my library, and you might be wondering, why are you going to your library? We were talking about contacts, weren't we? We're talking about CRM. Well, this is where we create our forms, where our forms live, and where also form responses can also be found. And so the library, if you are not familiar, it's kind of like your custom database that you can save whatever the heck you want here. So let's go ahead. I'm going to select new library item, which is at the top left area. And now it gives me a drop-down list of different items that I can start to build into my library directly so that I can use it for, future trips of mine or just for those forms, like I said. So I'm going to select form right here. And we get this nice little pop-up window. And now there are two ways to create forms. And we are going to explore both. One is just creating a completely custom form. The other is from a template. And like I said, we will take a look at both of those methods. But kind of just moving along with our story, we do an annual cruise each year. I need to make, like an intake form. So I might go ahead, title this cruise intake form 2023. You can see where we can put a label on this as well, similar to when we were doing labels for contacts. Kind of think of it as a folder that we put this into. So I might put the label as cruise 2023. You see, I already have one, so I'm just going to select that. You can put, again, multiple labels on items. And now let's start adding some questions on in here. So the first thing that I'm going to do is click Add New. And we have two options. One's a question field, or we can add a text and image only field. I like to do the text and image only at the very beginning of a form, and you'll see here why. This is where I can upload an image. So I like to upload logos onto the form just so my logo appears at the very top when they click into it. More branding, more marketing, if you will. I've hung around Scott and Stephanie too long. So I'm going to select this area right here. This is how I can upload my image. Of course, you can use the database if you want. This is a cruise form, so if I wanted to upload a cruise image, I could. For right now, I'm going to do upload. Let's find a logo of mine. Here's one. Now, tip here, I always click edit because I want to make sure this box is expanded as much as it can to fit everything in here. And so I'm going to select keep edits now. Let's click save. I can add some additional text or instructions. This is a great place to put in a custom message to travelers. Again, giving them more of a custom experience in general, elevating your service. And so I'm not going to make you watch me try and type all of this out. I'm just going to copy and paste a message I have already written up. It's basically saying, thank you for taking time out of your day to fill out this form. I'm excited to start planning with you. So I'm going to click this check mark. It's going to save it. And now let's start asking some questions. So we're doing add new. We just got done doing that text and image only. I'm going to select question right now. And a lot of the times you want their full name. I like to do this area as well, which is where we can add that additional text or instruction. So if there's further clarification needed, we can put that in there. Full name as it appears on your passport. Get fancy, italicize that, click out of it, and it saves right there. And now with any contact question you do, you actually want to go over here. This is our answer field for the question, like how do we want them to answer? I don't actually want a short answer. I want them to do a contact name, and you can see where it's under smart fields. The thinking that you have to get into is whenever you ask a contact question, scroll down to smart fields and select the matching field. So again, we're asking for a full name. We're going to select contact name. And I do like to require these. Now, you might be wondering what is a smart field. To put this in the most simplest terms as possible, smart fields is the really cool software feature in Travefy where it can collect information about your client. It records it. So if we send this, put this maybe on Facebook, if you will, put our intake form on Facebook to get some warm leads or lead magnets, someone who we have no idea who is fills this out. The software says, oh, this person's information doesn't match anybody in your contacts. do you want to assign a new contact to this person? And that's another sneaky way that you can actually add contacts into your account. It's actually just putting the work onto the client instead of you having to do it like we just did. So we're going to go through this just a little bit more. And by the end of this, you are going to be sick of me saying smart fields. So I'm going to do add new. We're going to do a question again. This time, maybe we are asking for their email. And again, because it's a contact question, we want to click on the answer field, go down to smart fields and select the matching one. So I'm going to select contact email. Again, it's my choice, but I like to require contact questions. And I'm going to check mark that. So now if Stephanie fills this out, maybe she puts in a personal email address. Our system recognizes, oh, this is Stephanie. She updated her email. We're going to automatically update her contact for you. So whenever a form response gets submitted, you know that you have the most updated information directly from the client. And so it's just a really nice way to put the work on them, making sure that you have a little bit of time to relax. We're going to do one more just to round this out. We'll do phone number. Again, like I said, you're going to get sick of me saying smart fields. So smart fields, select the matching one and require and check mark. Now, let's go ahead. I'm going to ask a different question. I think for the most part, we've gotten the hang of it. So we're going to do one more question here. And I'll say, since this is a cruise, we might as well ask for what their cruise cabin preferred type is. So we'll say, what cabin would you like to book? Question mark. Instead of a short answer, maybe I'm going to give multiple options. So I'm going to make this multiple choice. And here we can just start adding in our different options that a client can choose from. So I'm going to do add option. Let's say, oh gosh, ocean view is one. Check mark. Balcony. Check mark. Sweet. And then maybe I'll put another option where it's just saying, not sure quite yet. And that is completely fine. I do like to require this, but maybe I want them to be able to select a few different options. That's great. Check mark that. Last thing that I'll do just to round it out so we have a good length for a form is, do you have any questions for me? And now I will leave this as a long answer. Maybe they have a whole paragraph of questions they need to ask, which is totally fine. But I won't require them to ask me anything if they don't have any. So for now, we're going to check mark that. And the next thing that I like to do is once we create the form how we want it, I always preview it just to make sure there aren't any spelling errors, especially too, since I included an image, I want to make sure it looks good. So I'm going to select preview. And now we get a mobile view of what that looks like. You can tell that the logo fits in here pretty nicely. A client just fills it out, hits continue at the bottom. On desktop though, I usually like it better when you fill it out on a desktop because it's all on one page. They just fill it out and continue scrolling. You can also see how those buttons work as well. And they just hit continue. They'll get a little summary of all of their responses. They can always go back and edit a response if they need to as well. But because we're in preview, there's not going to be a submit button. So for the most part, it looks good. The buttons act like I want them to. I'm going to exit that preview. But now everything's done. We've proofread this. We've done all of the things we had to do. How do we share this form out? There are two ways with this one. One, if I click share, we can email this directly to a client. Otherwise, if we click share form link with clients, we get a link right here. And so the nice thing about having a link for your form is this is something that you can put on your social media. You can put in on a Facebook post. I know is a really popular place to put something like this. Your website, use it on the website builder. But then people who you don't even know can fill it out. And again, you get a little email notification once someone fills it out. And if they aren't a contact already, you can create a contact automatically. So if I click that copy button right there, I just paste it in the address bar. I could actually just start filling this out. I'm going to exit out of there though. I'm going to email this directly. And now the nice thing about emailing this directly to someone, and Stephanie, I'm sending this to you. I just start to type in their name because she's already a contact in there. I didn't have to type it all out as you saw. And I can send this to multiple people at once. They won't see who everyone I sent this to, which is super nice. Makes my life a little bit easier. I can just get it all done. But now when I go and send this form off directly as an email, I can go over to contacts, go to that contact I made for Stephanie, and you can see the status of that form is showing as sent. I can see which form exactly that I sent her. And if she were to respond, her responses would come in here. Super, super handy. Now, I'm going to go back to the library. I know we just ran through a lot of different things, but as you remember, I said you can make forms 2 different ways. If I select form right here, we just created a custom one. If you want to save yourself just a little bit of time, we have templates available. We have 3 in here. At the end, I'll actually share with you where you can find more that were created by other Travefy agents, as if Travefy is an agency. Travefy users who are agents is what I should say. But we have 3 templates in here. The one that I like to focus on, just because it involves a few more rules, is that credit card authorization. So if you select credit card authorization, here is what it looks like. It comes preloaded with questions. If you notice here, this symbol is slightly blue. That means it's smart field. So that's already been turned on for you. The one thing that I always point out though, is it has a please enter your payment information question. This is where the client's going to be able to upload their credit card information. If you need the CVV information on the back of the card, you're going to want to click this pencil icon right here and select yes. That is not turned on by default, so you always want to make sure you get in there, select yes, and check mark. And once it's saved, you don't have to do it again. And by the way, I'm not sure if anyone has come across this yet. If this is a grayed out option for you when you were looking at the templates, that just means you need to turn on your 2-factor authentication in your account. And if anyone has questions about that at the end, I will walk us through that. But to continue just moving along, I know like I said, we go through so much in these sessions, so appreciate you sticking with it. But next thing that I'll point out, it does require an electronic signature, and we do have terms and conditions already in here. If you have your own, you by all means can delete these out, paste it in, or paste yours in here instead. Now, when I go to share this, I can't share this via a link because it does require that electronic signature. And this is honestly just to make sure there is no way a third party could intercept this, because it's super sensitive information. We want to make sure we email this directly to a client to fill out. And so I'm going to select email form to clients. It looks just a little bit different than when we last sent that form, that cruise intake one we created. So let's run through this just from top to bottom. I'm going to start to type in Stephanie's contact name. I'm going to select her. And it's really just us setting up a general invoice, just giving the client information on what we're using their card for. And so I'll do an authorization description. Maybe I'm charging for a planning fee for $100. And maybe I'll do a booking fee for $50. I'm probably very off on my prices, so do not mind that. But this just is going to make our math a little bit easier in this authorization amount, because this is the total of everything in here. So if we add those together, simple math, that will be $150. I like to put USD, or the currency that you would be charging it for. And then last thing that you notice down here, and I'll zoom in because it is a little tiny, we have an authorization deadline. This deadline is not for you as it's for you as the agent. It's not for your clients, is what I should say. Another way to think of this is Stephanie here is approving me as her agent to use her card for the planning fee and booking fee for $150 total up until April 14th, 2023. And the reason why we choose April 14th out of all the dates that we could is because since we're asking for CVV information, we can only hold that for 30 days. So we just automatically make that deadline 30 days, which is the max that you can have. If you need to make it shorter for yourself, you can, but I generally don't even mess around with the deadline. Now, I'm going to send that form off. It's off to Stephanie. She's probably getting a million emails from me and wondering, why the heck is Bonnie sending me forms? Don't mind that, Stephanie. But again, if I go into contacts now, Maybe I haven't heard from Stephanie in a while, like what the heck is going on? I can again see, she hasn't responded quite yet. I might need to follow up with her, kind of see where her head's at and if she has any questions. So a good way, again, to just manage your clientele. But if you're curious, I have filled out a form here. So we're going to check out Jane Doe's contact. And you can see I sent a credit card authorization form. I did delete that form, which it says form deleted, trying to clear out my library before everyone saw it. But I can download a PDF of what they approved. I won't see the full card information if I do the PDF version, just as a heads up, but it's super handy just to have the terms and conditions showing and their electronic signature and all of this other information for legal purposes. Now, the other thing as well is if I do need to view the card information, I can click view responses. We have the card information down here. I can click view details. It's going to ask me to fill out my password. And by the way, this is a fake card, so don't think I'm showing really sensitive stuff. Log in. And then, as you can see, we have access to the card information. If I need to view the card, I click view card number right here. And I have a 60-second countdown where I can view that. Same for the CVV information. But if you're completely done with needing that information, we always suggest just deleting it once you are done. But great, again, contacts, forms, they communicate really well with each other. Trips as well, whenever you send a trip to a contact, it'll show up like this. But now the next really big piece to this is tasks, which we talked a little bit about when we were creating that contact for Stephanie. And so one other thing that you can do with tasks is that you can assign them to trips. And we kind of talked about this in some of our other sessions, but to go a little bit more in depth, let's take this Western Mediterranean cruise. We select task over here, and you can see very similar to what it looks like in the contacts, where you can start to type to add a to-do item. Now, the thing that I like about the trip task area is you can make what we call task lists. So if you do, maybe the same 3 things for every proposal that you do, same 3 things after a trip is done, I would recommend going to your library, click new library item, and selecting that task list area right under form. Now, when I go to select that, this is the window that pops up, and I can start to package together my to-do items. Super handy too. If you're on a team, you can make to-do item lists. You can assign it to team members if you're the admin or organizer. So a super nice way just to manage everything once again. But for the sake of an example, let's go ahead. I'll put together, kind of thinking here, let's do a confirmed booking a task list. You see where labels pop up. So I might want to put the label as confirmed booking. Again, basically putting it into a folder. And now I can add my different task for this package. So I'll delete this first one out. Let's say send traveler form. And let's do a date. Let's do this 14 days before the trip start date. If we add a time, we can. Remind me, always turn that on. If you want to add notes, you could do that as well. Let's add just a few more tasks to this package. This will be super quick. Collect final payment, and with the invoicing coming out soon, it'll just work together so well. But we'll do collect final payment. We'll add a due date. We're cutting it really short with this example. We'll do it 7 days before the trip start date. Let's stick with 8 a.m. as well. Remind me, done. Number 3, just to finish it off, send welcome home message. And now here's the great part about this. I can do this, you know what, we'll stick with 1 day after trip end date and click done. So now we have 3 tasks in our confirmed booking task list. If we go back over to our trips, and hopefully that's saved. I did not click done. Okay, great. Love the auto saving that Travefy has, or else I would be a mess. But let's go back to our trip, go back to task right here. Now, again, we already saw how we can type to add a task when we were in contacts. Same thing here. But now if I click the 3 dots, I can import my task list from the library that we just created. So I'll import and I will select my confirm booking task list. And it automatically calculates those dates if you see that there. So that way you don't have to have your calendar pulled up. You don't have to see, okay, what's 14 days before this trip's start date? It just does the work for you in that. And if you were able to tune into our coffee chat, we have a lot of different plans laid out for tasks. So it's going to grow and grow and grow. So yeah, that is what we have there. And I know it looks like, Stephanie, you've been busy answering questions. I hope you were able to get a lot of them answered with Jonathan back there, but I am going to turn it to you and see what you've got for me while taking a sip of Coca-Cola.
Yes, you deserve that Coca-Cola right there.
Woo.
Yeah, no, Jonathan's been going crazy in the background there, getting all of them. But I do have some for you though. So, okay.
Great.
First one here. If I put in all my email contacts, but already have some contacts in my Travefy account, will it merge them or will they be 2 entries or duplicates?
So if you, let's say, I forgot that Stephanie from Travefy, I had her in my contacts list. It's been a while since she's talked to me. If I were to go in, try to create a contact and go to email address, I'm like, okay, the Stephanie at Travefy kind of sounds familiar, but I'm not sure. I'm going to try and save that. Oh, it's going to give you this message where it's saying the contact email must be unique. And so that way you're like, oh, I must have already created a contact for this person. I'm going to cancel out of that. I'm going to remove this blank one. And that way you can just search their name at the top, or you can even just search their email if you have that on hand, and they'll come up for you as the first result, which is just a super nice way to make sure you aren't duplicating your efforts. If you go and make a big contact like we did for our example here, that way you don't do it again just by accident.
Cool.
But great question.
Awesome. So this is another question is, can I make it so I don't see all of my agency's contacts? So I don't know if in your account you have a team, but there is like on the left. Yeah, I know. I didn't either because I was like, oh, but on the left, you can see like created by you, or you can narrow down.
Yep. And you'll have that filter if you are on a team where you can just say created by me, created by you. You can have that selected and you can just see all of that. A lot of great filters on this side. This, if you are curious by what the filter by traveling means, it takes the start date for your trips. And that's how it shows. So upcoming, we obviously sent this one there. I believe it goes out in April. So that's showing our upcoming contacts. But even if you're on a team as well, you probably might have seen where you can filter your trips by owner on this side. Same thing for contacts. But great
Perfect
question.
One that just came in, I'm gonna put this one in because this is a good one, is where do the reminders pop up to show our tasks?
Great. Yeah. So I guess I should have put one on here beforehand. Whenever you get a reminder, one, if you have Travefy Pro downloaded, you get a push notification to your phone that day. Nice way to wake up, kind of see what is laid out. Great way to set a schedule for yourself. You'll get an email notification if you do not have Travefy Pro. If you need to see just, where are all of my tasks at? Like, I don't want to have to search through my contacts to see everything coming up. You click on this nice little clipboard right here. You'll also get like a little red symbol showing if you have any, the amount due that you need to get done by today, or maybe that are overdue, hopefully not overdue. But if you click into that clipboard, you can see the ones due for today or the overdue ones, or you can click view all tasks. You can kind of see like, oh gosh, I have a list to get done. And you can play around with those filters over here just to condense it and not feel so overwhelmed.
Perfect. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And okay, so another one is I like this one because someone asked this, is because you were doing like a birthday, which there's a fellow June 23rd in here, which is so cool.
Love it. Geminis.
Yeah. So the what if you want to make a birthday reminder repeat? And that's where I thought about the idea. You could duplicate it. You would still need to change the date, but you could duplicate these tasks.
Yep. And so let's go to right here. One, yes, we have it for our reminder for June 1st, 2023. But let's say, Stephanie bought out a whole 3 cabins from me. I want to make sure I take care of this client. Like, she better be a repeat client of mine. I want to make her feel so special. So it's super easy. I'm just going to click the 3 dots. I'm going to click duplicate. And then of course, I'm going to change that start date. Ooh, not to July. I can easily change it to that next year just by doing that.
Yeah. So it's pretty easy, pretty quick.
But yeah, that's a great one to bring up.
Yeah.
Now she is set for 2 years at most.
Oh yeah. So good. So awesome. Another question here is, how, and you might've done this already, but, how do you export form responses?
Oh, I'm so glad you brought that up. And no, I did not go over
Okay, I couldn't remember. I was like, I don't remember, but I'm not sure. Yeah.
Yes. So if we go to our library, and actually I'm going to go take this a little bit of a step further. I'm going to go to my option form example that I made an hour before the webinar. And this is one where I did not have the person in my contacts already. And so whenever that happens, again, we kind of set up our example where if we put maybe a form link on Facebook, someone who we have no idea fills it out, our software looks through, hey, this person isn't a contact in there. Do you want us to make a contact for you? This is what that would look like. It would just say there was a form response submitted. You, again, get the email notification that takes you here. And you can say, who is this? Click that drop down arrow. Someone named Billy Bob filled out this form. Okay, you know what? Never talked to a Billy Bob before in my life. I'm going to assign that to a new contact. It's going to say, are you sure? Yes, create and assign. And now Billy Bob is a contact in my account here. But to go back to the original question of exporting, let's go back to this option form. Whenever you have a form that just has a ton of responses and you're like, oh my gosh, this is a lot to read through, I might just want to have a hard copy or a spreadsheet on hand. What you can do is click the 3 dots on your form, select export spreadsheet. And it's going to, for me, because I have Excel downloaded, download it into a CSV that I can open in Excel. And from there, I can do what I want with it. But great question.
Sweet. So this other question, so you ended up going over this right after this question was asked, but I think it's really important because I think this is just a really cool feature because we talk about credit card authorization a lot, but we don't always just point out the fact that you could use it for like a service agreement because someone had asked that for like a prospect to accept it. And that would be where you could set it so you can accept it, but there's the e-signature option that you could use by itself, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, that is a super great one to bring up. And yeah, besides credit card authorization forms, with any form really, I'm going to just create a brand new one. And if I'm just going to do an add question, we'll pretend terms and conditions. We go down here, required electronic signature. You could put your terms and conditions in here. You could maybe then up here instead put your service fee stuff. I know a lot of people use it to get people to sign for travel insurance, which is always a great one as well to make sure your clients sign off on. But yeah, you can require an electronic signature on any form that you need. And that actually reminds me, you might have shared this out in the chat already, but I'm going to send it again. It's that library gallery page that we have where a lot of Travefy agents have given us permission to put it on there that you can save directly to your account, including a ton of forms that you can customize even further. So with that being said, let me make sure I paste that into our chat here today before I forget. And
perfect. Awesome. Cool. Okay, so another question here. So on forms, is there a limit to how many questions you can have on a form?
There is not. You can put as many questions on there as you want. My only advice to you is make sure that if you as a traveler get this form, are you going to want to fill out all of those questions? So if it makes more sense for you to maybe break it up into 2 forms, but maybe email it in one. So that way, I have a credit card. No, not credit card. Let's say I have an option form and a cruise intake form that together they would just be too much for one person. I might just want to get the form link, grab the links for both of them, and I can either put it into the trip chat for them to fill out. I can just email it directly to them. But yeah, just keep that in mind if you would want to do it as well as a traveler.
It's a good point. Yeah. A lot of
like sometimes you see a lot of words and you're like,
yeah, and our attention span's not super great. So sometimes people be like, I'll fill this out later, and then you forget and all that.
So like maybe you need to add a few more pictures throughout your form. Maybe that's will keep them interested.
Yeah.
Pictures do a lot.
Yeah. And that questions actually came up a lot. Like, so not, I mean, a good amount in this one, but other in previous sessions where people are asking like how you can brand those forms. And currently you can't change the colors, but those logos and like the text is really what can help that, because you can put like photos in there and like how Bonnie has it. So that's a great way to like just spice it up and add that branding.
Exactly. And something too that I have seen a handful of times that other agents that I talk to on trainings will do is if you have something like a cruise intake form and you maybe want to put a photo of what the cruise ship looks like, you can put a photo maybe down in here. If you want to maybe put some cabin photos, you can as well. That way your client doesn't have to go to a link, doesn't have to go to external websites. You just have it all packaged nicely together. And cool. I'm not sure if anyone might not know how to do this. We're going to touch on this tomorrow with the client experience webinar, but this is just a sneak peek. If you get the link for a form like a cruise intake, this is the link that you can put into your trip. So if you want to put this into like the trip description at the very top, your client has the form there. They have their itinerary. It's all there. Less emails that you have to send out, less emails for them to find. So just a little heads up on what you can expect.
Yeah, love that. And actually, so speaking of emails, so I saw a couple of this, and I think it's probably really important to specify, but someone had asked like confirming with the tasks, like since we said, send an email on your birthday, but Travefy doesn't actually send an email. Like we don't have access to do that currently. So can you just go over that just to explain, like, we're not actually sending emails on behalf or anything for things like that.
And I know too, I'm not sure if any of our product team is tuning into this webinar, but emails and automation is a huge thing that they are working on this year and focusing on. We have a lot of things in the works besides just the invoicing. So that might be something in the future that we do where we have automated emails set up. But for right now, whenever you get that task alert saying, you know what, I need to send Stephanie a birthday email, you can just easily, if you have it on your phone and you want to just text the client from your phone, you can do that. Otherwise, like, oh, okay, send birthday message. Cool. I'm just going to click that email. It's going to open it up for me and I can just send it off to her super, super quick.
Andrea from our team who was on the coffee chat yesterday, she said, yes, not yet. I love that. That's so funny. Last thing that I have here, because I know this is such, it seems like such, a simple thing, but it is kind of hidden. How do you delete things from your library? Like if you were deleting a form of items.
And you know, my library is the perfect example because there's so much stuff in it that I just need to get rid of. One, you could always just click into it, click 3 dots, hit delete if it's a single item. For me, I love this bulk edit tool because I can select, you know, I need to delete. Let's scroll down here. I already have, I just created these two with you guys. So I'm going to delete these, hit delete and done. Edit tools also really great if you are someone who maybe doesn't label or needs to get into the habit of labeling, and you can just select the ones that need a label. You can apply labels all at once. So just makes it for, you know, a nice quick thing to just check off your list and being productive. And no, that's a really good one.
Yeah, that's a good one. And this one applies more to things that are on your itinerary, but it doesn't delete what's already on a trip. So that's that's a good thing there. Okay. Last one, actually, I can't believe this. Jonathan is like a beast in the Q&A because there was a ton and now it's like empty, but there is one that came in that I do think is probably really important to mention. Someone had asked like a way to, okay, so if you need to amend the credit card authorization, so if I were to fill it out, but then maybe there's another authorization price in there, they said, is there a way to amend that? And the best answer would be like, you should redo that and send it again just to make cover your bases, right?
Right. That's exactly what I would do as well, is if, you know what, oh, it changed. Looks like prices are now this point instead of this. That's fine. Just disregard that. I might almost even go to the 3 dots right here. Maybe they filled it out already too, just to give another scenario where they filled out the credit card authorization. Maybe the deadline passed. Maybe, you know, prices have changed where you just need to send that. You can always go ahead, copy a form. And what I always like to have on hand is a condensed version where I'm not going to make them go through these questions again and again. I already have all of this. I might just have them keep their full name as a question, but then they have less things to fill out. I still get the same information that I would need anyway. I would just go ahead and edit that description. But good catch there.
Yeah,
and of course too. Yeah. I know,
It's
we're
important.
like, yeah.
Do it. We promise. Well, because someone else asked, like, because it's so good. Like, it's PCI compliant, which I know Bonnie shared, and it's just safe and secure. So it's really nice having
It's like, I'd rather be protected from a legal standpoint instead of taking shortcuts, because that can just snowball into a big mess for you and just create a lot of stress for you and the client. So just making sure you get your electronic signatures, you just follow emailing that directly to them. But of course, if you're not asking for super sensitive information, just like preferred cabin types, like what we did, you can by all means don't feel like you need to require an electronic signature for that. You can just make your general form, get a link, put it wherever you want. And it's a great way to just get updated information and get contacts.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I was still, there's some more coming in. I was like trying to go like,
I know I could talk all day about this. So
no, it's funny because these are the webinars that we're like, oh, I bet this one will just be like 30 minutes. And it's like, nope, it is. There's so much because you can really go detailed in so many things. But I know Scott's is starting now. So Scott's on Facebook Live. So go hop over there, everybody, for more library things. So actually, this goes very well with this on the library. But just want to say thank you so much again, Bonnie. Thank you, everyone. If you did not get a question answered, definitely just reach out to our team in your live chat or send us an email at professional@travefy.com as well. But definitely hop on our Facebook page, our main Facebook page, listen to all the other library stuff that you can hear today.
Yes. But yeah, like Stephanie said, thank you so much for spending time with us this afternoon, all week. If you've tuned into multiple sessions, love having you here. Love connecting with new friends, old friends. But awesome. And with that, have a great rest of your day, everybody.
We'll see you tomorrow.
Bye.
See ya.